Let's take a look at business now. While Africa holds more than 10% of the world's natural gas reserves, is not fully benefiting economically. That's according to industry leaders at the International Energy Roundtable hosted by African Energy Chamber in partnership with Russian energy powerhouse Gazprom in Johannesburg. Newzroom Africa's business reporter Ntokozo Khumalo covered the event and brings us this report.
I think as a starting point, with Mozambique really being a major supplier of natural gas to South Africa, could you talk us through what deeper collaboration, especially in the SADC region, would mean for the acceleration of natural gas exploration?
Yes, our countries, Mozambique and South Africa, we have a friendship and brotherhood for a very long time. That's not only the fields of natural gas, but in many other economical fields. And the same applies to Zimbabwe, to DRC, Malawi, Zambia. So the possibility of integrating our region gives us a larger market and will bring the benefits of transforming the huge reserves, large reserves of natural gas that Mozambique has, into quality of life for the inhabitants of our region. This will be transformed into power. This will be transformed in power security. This will be transformed in petrochemical products. This will be transformed into transportation with lower prices, fertilizers. So the benefits of integrating our region, using the resources of one country and another, bring us the possibility of alleviating poverty. And this is where our government and the private sector is working very actively to integrate the region.
And one of the reasons that we are here, obviously, is to really deepen those ties between the Russian Federation and South Africa and other countries in the SADC region. But one of the points that we do have as well is the intra-Africa free trade area agreement. How do you see that facilitating that sharing of resource beyond SADC to the rest of the continent as well, so that we can really see the benefits of our resources?
The legal framework is an important part to start. So we are very happy. But now the private sector needs to step in. We need to work. We need to deeply get involved. And we need to grow our private sector, medium, small companies and large enterprises. When that starts to happen, we will see a deeper integration, because these resources that are sitting in one country and another, they mean that there is a market that is willing to receive those services, and this common agreement to integrate the whole African continent among the same umbrella will enable all of us to maximize the intertrade between us. Because today, Africa trades more with outside, with China, with the US, with Europe, than among ourselves. We need to overpass many things that we have between ourselves, African. We don't trust a lot each other. Our financial institutions don't come very strong to support intra-borders or cross-border trade. So with this agreement, we believe that the pact is already written. Now we need to drive ourselves and make the way step by step.
Michelle, thank you so much for your time. Of course, that was Michelle Sen, who is the executive chairman at Mitra Energy out in Mozambique, telling us about that collaboration in the SADC region. But I do now have Dahiri Moyi, who is an advisor to the Nigerian federal government, the finance ministry. Thank you for your time. And of course, Nigeria is the biggest natural gas producer on the continent, but has largely focused on oil and gas. Could you talk us through some of the reasons behind that?
Well, it's happened because there wasn't any definite set of rules or policies to guide the exploitation of gas, but there was sufficient basis, a legal framework for the exploitation of crude oil. So most of the investors concentrated on the crude oil, where they know they have legal grounds and they have legal protection. So they didn't go too much into gas, which means that the gas deposits in Nigeria were really not utilized as they should. We have 200 plus TCF of gas. 1 TCF of gas could give you 18 million tons of LNG. And even looking at the current price of LNG, about $300, $400 per ton, multiply that with 18 million, multiply that by 200 TCF. Imagine the losses Nigeria is suffering. Crude oil is good, but it is not something that will benefit the whole of the society, as we have seen. Compare the crude oil proceeds of Nigeria and the gas proceeds of Qatar or Bahrain or Oman. You can see the big differences, ignoring the other dynamics of population and others, but you can really see gas brings more money and is more sustainable than the crude, and also environmentally you do less damage to the society and to the people. So I believe most of the challenges we had with gas was because of lack of clear policy and law, and also implementation. Yeah, but I think this has been addressed by the Petroleum Industry Act, which is now in operation and legally binding on all parties who want to invest or who want to operate in Nigeria in the oil and gas sector. So I believe we'll see a huge development in the gas and in the development of gas fields and gas production and gas distribution in Nigeria. Yes.
Mr. Boy, now theoretically, natural gas sounds good and a good picture, but does Africa have the skills to actually see it through, or is that where partnerships with the likes of Gazprom then comes in to really accelerate us being able to see those benefits of accelerated exploration?
Partnerships are always necessary. You can look at China, despite all their human capacity and everything, they always ask for or seek for technical capacities and assistance from those who already are well established in that field. This avoids costly mistakes, and then you are sure that what you are doing will not end up in disaster. So yes, we do have the human capacity, we do have the resources, but we need help with the technical capacity and the experiences of these international companies, because they have made mistakes. And it's not good for you to recreate the wheel or reinvent the same when you already have somebody who will help you avoid that pitfall and to avoid you losing your investment and losing your enthusiasm. Mistakes demoralize people, and they cause a lot in terms of capital and national development. If you lose 2 years in your national development plan, that's a lot to recover. So I will suggest to you, yes, keep cooperation of this, but it has to be on a mutual basis, not on an exploitative or on any other one, but that is mutually beneficial to the two parties. Yes.
And these collaborations that were discussed today are not just collaborations of African nations with Russia or European countries, but also collaboration here on the continent, where an explorer such as Nigeria could have some lessons for South Africa that is accelerating its exploration. What do you say to that, and what could that picture look like if African countries worked together more when it comes to natural gas exploration?
If when African countries work together more independently without any external interferences, the cooperation, the speed of cooperation will surprise everybody. We have seen what is going on between Japan and Korea. We also have seen what is going on between China and Vietnam and Malaysia. The effect of regional cooperation cannot be, is very critical in anyone who wants to develop. And Africa has not been able to do that simply because trade between two African countries still rely on a different currency that is not African, which means both of us are exposed to the fluctuations, to the other nuances of that international currency. So it does not help with the cooperation, because we are not really cooperating independently. We are just being intermediaries in the cooperation that probably will not work well if we are more independent in the way we approach each other. So I think we have to be thinking about financing our own kind of cooperation, our own projects with our own set of rules. When I say our own set, African rules. We have the African Free Trade Act, which is a good start. Now, how do we materialize, validate it in terms of financing? Where do we go from just the paperwork that is being done and getting the banks, the African banks, to come in and put their skin in the game? That is, I think, what we need to see from now on.